How's it going, guys? Huge episode today, and we are going to be covering what happened at the trade deadline as of 3. Oh, that is March 22nd. So D'Agostini got traded for and a 7th round pick for a conditional 4th to St. Louis. So we just made that trade. I think that was a pretty good deal for St. Louis. You're not going to get much better than D'Agostini for a 4th round pick. Moving on, we will be going to Pittsburgh and Dallas for the Morrow trade. So Brendan Morrow for Joe Morrow. I think Pittsburgh got a great end of this trade. Brendan Morrow is a developed power forward who can prove that he can be very valuable to a team. So that is that, and Joe Morrow will be going back, but he's on Wilkes-Barre Scranton, so I'll take care of that first. Yeah. So yeah, guys, these are all the trades. I'm gonna do them in the game, and I'll show you what the results look like. So there's Joe Morrow going back. I hope you guys find this interesting, because I found it a little interesting to see how the rosters look now. They'll probably do an update, but hey, you know what? I will be the first one to show you what the update's gonna look like. Now we have Douglas Murray going for 2 second-round picks to Pittsburgh. That is done. Up next is the big one. This is the big one, guys. The Jarome Iginla trade. Whew. 2 prospects and a first-round pick. That's a steal, guys, for Jarome Iginla. I think they could have gotten a little more for this guy, but, you know, that's just me. So, here he is. Boom. Next trade. Guys, I'm not going to be doing all the trades and throwing in all the prospects. I'm just going to be doing what the NHL roster would look like. So, yeah, if I'm throwing the prospects, that's why. The trades weren't that big. And I'm not going to do the ones that are specified. And here are that weren't specified. And here's Jordan Leopold for a 2nd and a 5th. I think, Buffalo did well on this trade. I don't think you'd get much more for Leopold. Next up is Jesus for a 4th round pick. I think this was a solid pickup by Chicago. Their trade values are about even, but I think it's a fair trade for everybody. Up next we have Robin Regehr for 2 seconds. Oh, sorry guys. So Robin Regehr for 2 seconds. I think that was a good trade for LA, because Regehr you could easily have gotten a first for, in my opinion, but that was Buffalo's mistake, in my opinion. So let's move on to Jay Bouwmeester. This is another big fish in the trade deadline. Bouwmeester got traded for a 1st round and 2 prospects, so essentially he just gave them to St. Louis in my version, because none of the guys are there. There you go. And next trade would be Marc-Andre Bergeron for Adam Hall. This trade was about fair in my opinion, and a 7th round pick with Hall. So Marc-Andre Bergeron for Adam Hall in the 7th. So I think that was a pretty fair trade in general. So we will say that. Adam Hall for Bergeron. It's about fair in this game too, I'd say. So that was a good deal. Now Derek Roy for this Kanauten. I'm sorry guys, I can't pronounce that right now. For Derek Roy, so essentially he just gave Roy away. And for this, not in real life. I'm sure Kanauten is a good prospect and a 2nd round pick. Yeah, he's not here. So Derek Roy for Kanauten, a defenseman, and a 2nd round pick. Derek Roy, a former Sabre. He was alright, but in my opinion, he was a little lazy. Gets moved around a lot, I guess. We got the 2 J Bens there. Next big one was Jaromir Jagr going to Boston for Cody Payne and Lane McDermott, and a 2nd round pick. I think they did well on this one. Jagr really just wasn't going anywhere. He was good. He's still good, believe me, but I just don't think he is the monster that you need a 1st round pick for him. But that sounds about right. So with the pick, yeah, that's a fair trade. Now Drewski for a 5th. I think LA did not do well with this one. Drewski for a 5th round pick. I think they could have easily gotten a 4th, maybe a 3rd, maybe a 3rd for Drewski. I'd say a 4th, maybe, probably. Because a 5th round pick, let's face it, isn't going to do too much for you. It's very rare that you find the diamonds in the rough. Next trade would be the New York Rangers, acquiring Klo for a 2nd, a 3rd, and a conditional 2nd. That was a pretty good trade. Didn't give up any firsts, which I think might have been their goal there. Bunch of 2nds and a 3rd. So there goes that. Next big trade would be Jussi Jokinen for a 7th round pick. That's quite cheap for Jussi Jokinen. But he doesn't seem to be doing much right now, so I guess that's kind of how it goes. This one really surprised me up here. Corey Conacher for Ben Bishop. Corey Conacher and a 4th round pick for Ben Bishop. I really thought Tampa was going to hold on to Corey Conacher, but they do need a goalie, and Ben Bishop is a great goalie, so I'm going to say that was an alright trade, but I still think they should have kept Conacher. Next up, we're in the trade deadline day right here. Mason for Michael Leighton and a 3rd round pick. Steve Mason will be going to Philly, and Michael Leighton in a 3rd round will be going back to Columbus. This was an interesting trade I found also. Steve Mason, I'm not sure if they really needed him, because I think he could play as a starter, but I guess they kind of need some backup because Briz wasn't getting it done. But it is what it is. In this game it's about even. So, yeah. Next one. This one was absolutely gymongous. I did not see this one coming, guys. Marian freaking Gaborik for Dorsett, Moore, and Brassard in a 6th. I think that was a great deal for Gaborik. In my opinion, all these guys don't add up to Marian Gaborik, but it just happened, and Columbus is now a contender, in my opinion, for a playoff position with all these huge pickups. Next one hit home, Pominville for Matt Hackett, Johan Larsson, and a 1st and a 2nd. This one was not bad in my opinion, because Pominville was not really fitting into Buffalo. But, you know, I guess it had to happen. And a 1st and a 2nd round pick are nice for him, so I think we'll be quite good with that. Let's go onwards to, yeah, there you go. Minnesota has the Arrows. Houston. I just know this offhand because I've been following the radio and stuff with him. So we'll add him on there. Yep, that's him. Brilliant. Blake Como for a 5th round pick. That sounds about right. Probably could have gotten a 4th for him, Blake Como. But, you know, I guess they really didn't want to spend too much. Columbus acquired Blake Como for a 5th round pick from Calgary, so there you have it. Rafi Torres for a 3rd round pick. I think this was about fair. Yeah, sounds about right. Probably could have gotten a 4th, but you know, I don't think Rafi Torres is worth that much because he's just kind of in my opinion, not the cleanest player in the league. So he goes to San Jose. Wade Redden is going to Boston. This is an interesting trade. Wade Redden's been moved quite a bit now for a 7th round pick. That's pretty embarrassing if you ask me. 7th rounder for that's the last round of the draft, right? It's not very good for his confidence. Matthew Lombardi for Brandon McMillan. This was an interesting trade for me. Yeah, McMillan for Lombardi sounds about fair, but in this game, Matthew Lombardi going to Anaheim would be the better end of the deal here because he's a good player, in my opinion, because he has good speed in this game. So that'll be a user advantage for whoever's on Anaheim. Steve Sullivan going to New Jersey for a 7th round pick in this year's draft from Phoenix. Don't know why Phoenix is giving. Well, I do know why Phoenix is giving away all their players because they really aren't in any mood to go into the playoff chase. But that is that. Last few trades here. Martin Erat and Michael Latta are Washington bound from Nashville. In accordance, they will give up Phil Forsberg. Not a bad trade, not a bad trade. I think Erat will be good in Washington. He wasn't exactly doing well, I guess, in Nashville because he got traded. But you know, that's that, and I think it's a good trade in this game for him because these are two guys who aren't even ready to play yet. Well, scratch that. Forsberg, I don't know where he is on the roster. But moving on to the last trade that we have here, it will be Patrick Kane to Pittsburgh. So that's that. I mean, to Columbus from Pittsburgh. So that's that. Now let's take a look at the new ratings for the teams. This is interesting, guys. Not this, but I'll be right back. Okay, here we are. Take a look, guys. It is quite different now. Some of these teams have gotten huge boosts from their former ratings. Like you'll see right over here, Buffalo's significantly lower. St. Louis is significantly higher in defense. Obviously Columbus is moving up all around. So I think this is a really interesting trade deadline. A lot of teams got a lot of good trades in. So all in all, it was a pretty nice deadline. It was enjoyable to watch. The trade that surprised me most was the Gaborik trade. I don't know about you guys, but leave in the comments if you enjoyed this video. If you did, leave a like, I guess. And tell me which trade surprised you the most. Definitely the Gaborik one for me, but New York is slumping, so I see why they'd want to get rid of him. Thanks guys, thanks for watching, and have a great day, and I hope you were entertained by the trade deadline, because I sure was. Talk to you later, guys.